Hi, I'm Peter. I work for the Shimano Corporation. Because of our new DURA-ACE 7900, we have some changes for assembling. Those changes include a different installation of the shifter cable, we have a one-directional chain, and of course we have no more trim function on top position of the chain wheel in front. And of course its installation. In addition to them, we have some special shifter and brake cables. Please use them for the best shifting performance. Okay, let's start assembling.
First, let's attach the ST7900 to the handlebar. Move the bracket cover and securely tighten the mounting nut with a 5mm Allen key. When installing the components to carbon handlebar surfaces, verify with the manufacturer of the carbon parts for their recommendation on tightening torque. The correct way for clamp washer B to face is so that the small hollow on the surface is in the top left corner. First, pull the brake lever and hold it in that position. Loosen the screw and remove the nameplate. Pass the inner cable through and set the inner end cap into the cable hook. Install the outer casing from the opposite side. Replace the nameplate. Install the other lever and brake cable in the same way. Operate the rear lever B at least 9 times to set the lever to the highest position. And then pass the inner cable through the cable hole from underneath. You can route the outer casing in 2 directions, either through the inside cable guide or the outside cable guide. Use the outer casing with aluminium caps. When removing the inner cable, the work can be done more easily if the unit cover is removed. Next, let's install the front shifting cable. Operate the front lever B at least once to set the lever to the lowest position. At this time, make sure that the shifting cable cover is installed. If it is not installed, injury may occur. Now pass the inner cable through the cable hole from underneath. In the same way as the rear lever, you can route the outer casing in 2 directions. Don't reassemble the unit cover at the front, or it may cause operational problems. When you wrap the handlebar tape, be careful not to cover the cable holes and the unit cover. If the handlebar tape covers them, you won't be able to replace the inner cable. Next, let's install the front derailleur. Adjust so that the clearance between the chain guide outer plate and the largest chainring is from 1 to 3 millimeters before installing. Set the level section of the chain guide outer plate to be directly above and parallel to the largest chainring, and then secure the derailleur with a 5 millimeter Allen key. When installing the components to carbon frame, verify with the manufacturer of the carbon frame for their recommendation on tightening torque. Next, let's install the rear derailleur to the frame using a 5 millimeter Allen key. When installing, be careful that deformation is not caused by the B-tension adjustment screw coming into contact with the dropout tab. Next, we'll do the top adjustment of the rear derailleur. Turn the top adjustment screw to adjust so that the guide pulley is below the outer line of the smallest sprocket when looking from the rear. Let's try the low adjustment. Turn the low adjustment screw so that the guide pulley moves to the position directly in line with the largest sprocket. The CN7900 has a forward side and a reverse side, and the direction of installation is very important. The forward side is marked, so set the marked side outward for correct installation. That is required for better gear shifting performance. Place the chain over the largest chainring and the smallest sprocket, and set the chain length so both the guide and the tension pulleys line up in front of a straight line drawn between the ground and the rear wheel axle. However, when you use a combination of 11 to 28 teeth cassette sprockets, adjust the chain length by adding 2 links with the chain on both the largest chainring and the largest sprocket. Connect the cable to the rear derailleur. Make sure that the cable is securely in the groove. And after taking up the initial slack in the cable, secure it to the rear derailleur again. First, we'll start with the adjustment from the low side of the front derailleur. Set the chain over the smallest chainring and the largest sprocket. Set so that the clearance between the chain guide inner plate and the chain is from 0 to 0.5 millimeters. While pulling the inner cable, tighten the cable fixing bolt with a 5mm Allen key to secure the cable. After taking up the initial slack in the cable, secure the front derailleur again.
Okay, let's do the cable adjustment. Afterwards we will do top position adjustment, because this is different from our current DURA-ACE 78000 series. Also, no more trim function on top position is needed. This is also different.
Place the chain over the largest sprocket and shift the front to top gear. Adjust the clearance of the chain and chain guide to the minimum from 0 to 0.5mm using the cable adjustment bolt. Now we'll try the top adjustment. Set the chain to the largest chain ring and the smallest sprocket. Set so that the clearance between the chain guide outer plate and the chain is from 0 to 0.5mm. Mount the chain on the smallest chain ring and the largest sprocket and turn the crank arm backward. Then turn the B-tension adjustment screw to adjust the guide pulley as close to the sprocket as possible, but not so close that it touches. Next, set the chain to the smallest sprocket and repeat the previous procedure to make sure that the pulley does not touch the sprocket.
For the installation of the cables and the outer casing and the fine-tuning, you can use the same procedure as our current models. Please follow the service instruction technical guide as close as possible for the best installation. Finally, we want to tell you two important things of the system. First one is the lever stroke adjustment.
Remove the nameplate and then use a flat-tipped screwdriver to turn the reach adjustment bolt to adjust the lever stroke. Check the braking operation when adjusting.
The other one is preventing chain touch in the front area.
When the chain is over the smallest chain ring and near the smallest cassette sprocket, the chain touches the outer plate of the chain guide of the front derailleur. In such a case, you can dissolve the contact just by operating the front lever A to move the derailleur. The front derailleur doesn't contact the chain anymore, and you can use all of the 20-speed gearing without stress.
Compatibility of the new system 7900 is different from our current system. So when you upgrade your system, please always check the compatibility chart for the best shifting performance.